Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. This feels better already. So, hello everyone. Yeah, I'm Michael Crump. Yeah, I've been doing that Azure tips and tricks thing just for a little while. Actually, I started it in 2017. I put it on my own kind of like personal blog. And as I was getting like more and more traffic, I got to thinking, okay, well, how can I kind of scale this out a little bit? So like we were missing videos at that time. We were also the site that I was using, and I'm still using it like today. I think it was like a Jekyll based site. I wanted to move to like ViewPress for some additional speed and also like search functionalities. So anyway, that's just a brief kind of like history with like tips and tricks. I work on Azure as in the application development area. So think of end-to-end application development. So what that means is that anytime that
We got a meeting right now, but oh, I'm so sorry. Just as soon as you know what time of day.
And so one of the things is that being in Azure application development, we get to look, left or right throughout all of the services, which is an extremely fun job, at least for me, because I have that ability that I get bored really easy. I like to like move on to like other like different, different things over time. And so, yeah, and so definitely kind of some of my kind of sweet spots here. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let's go this one, share content, and let's see if I pick the right screen this time. Okay, I think this is working. You should see it now. So hopefully everybody kind of sees it. This is just kind of the little, kind of our intro, kind of our dashboard here. Where most folks can typically find me at is Twitch and Twitter, MB Crump. I do live streaming. I do actually a live version of tips and tricks on Wednesdays with one of my good friends, Cecil Phillips. So kind of coming into this one today, I thought of a couple of different things. Some people may or may not be like familiar with some of the existing tips that's out there. And I think as you can kind of see from right here, let's go here, let's go Azure Dev.tips. Today, we hit 274. So there we go, 274 as of today. So anyway, we've been adding this out kind of as we go. So what I thought about doing is I thought about adding some kind of the new stuff and then maybe a little bit of a mixture of the old stuff. And then also I was thinking what may be kind of cool is that I've been given some access to some fun little stuff in GitHub that I have like the ability to just show you some of the stuff that you may have seen and some of like the keynotes and stuff. So a little bit of like everything. Maybe we'll do a little softball. And by the way, I love for this to be interactive. Ask me questions away. If I don't know it, I'll gladly tell you that I don't. And we can like figure a lot of those out together. But what I hope, what I aim out of this is that at least you're able to get a couple of different things that may help you be a bit more productive as you're using Azure. Okay, so let's see what we have here today. So before we go into it, I'm just going to pause this. If you're wondering a little bit more, if you are brand new to the series, you can totally just get to the site. It's just Azure Dev.tips. This is a very much open source project. It's been open source since May of last year. Every bit of it has been. And so if you go over here and you take a look at the repo, this is the repo that we currently are maintaining. We've got a bunch of contributors, and today I did a bunch of kind of clearing out of some of the latest pull requests. Yeah, and so yeah, the weekly emails, 273. What's so awesome is that sometimes, let's see, we got it over here. Yeah, 272, 273. This isn't the first time we missed one. Yeah, we've missed a few of them before, and I could tell you what happened here. I had actually have a guest that created this one completely from scratch, and he picked 274, and I merged the PR. That's how good I am as a maintainer. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of history there, and but yeah, anybody can update this. Anybody can submit articles to it. I tell folks, like in that latest one today, put your social or any of the places that you think folks could potentially reach out to you, and they could chat, maybe chat and kind of keep the conversation going. Yeah, I usually put that in most of my pull requests once they end. Yes, so Andrew, I think you may be talking about the weekly emails that may come from like my blog site. Is that the ones you're talking about? Because I do send out a weekly kind of like update for tips and tricks from there, from my blog. Yeah. All right, cool. Yes. Think they come through on a Sunday. Yes, they do. And I actually, believe it or not, there is plenty of tips and tricks that I got out of that. Okay, so I put together, and by the way, I love the interaction and the talking. I put together just a little mixture of a couple of different things that I had here, and yeah, just drop questions in kind of like as we go here. In the early days, and you'll notice that to this day, I'm sad to say it, but the Azure dev.videos, actually it was this other way around. The most popular tip and trick out of the entire series, years worth, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to show you. I promise I'll get us somewhat back on schedule here. The most popular tip we've ever created was actually this one, with 63,000 views for keyboard shortcuts. And so, well, I won't go through like all the keyboard, I won't go through all the keyboard shortcuts, just if you wanted to like know where to like find those at. I think it's over here. And yeah, there's keyboard shortcuts. Instead of kind of going through that same sort of thing, I thought about, okay, here are my top 3. So maybe a top list inside of a top tips and tricks post. G and A is the ones that I use quite a bit. Let me see if I can get it to work. There we go. G and A, because I'm always going to resources. So the keyboard shortcut there is G and an A, and you can come into this. Little thing. Well, I always click on that one. You can always see kind of like the full list that's in there, but I only use 3 that I'd kind of say every day. So if you just press on your keyboard G and then you hit A, it will take you over to all resources. So that's one, instead of coming over here and navigating to it. The second one that I use pretty much every day is in regards to search. So this one, you do a G and a slash here. Let me just do this. Let me come over here. This one is a G and then a plus a slash here. So that gets you to the that will get you the search bar. A lot of the times when I do need to search, I need to get over to it quickly, and so this usually will take care of me of what I'm trying to do next. Let's see what else we've got. We also have the favorites. So if you notice, there's favorites that's in here. You can customize this list, which I'm sure most of you already know about. But sometimes you want to jump to one of these lists, and so I work a lot still with SQL databases, and so one of the things that I thought that was kind of fun there is that if you count the number, and you'll just remember these after time, like this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. That same G command, so I could do G3, and it will take me over to this one. So those are little keyboard shortcuts that I think is pretty interesting. So like if I wanted to go to, I think it'd be 5, G5, let's see here. There we go. G5 takes you over to the function apps. So just something kind of interesting there that you can do. Let's see what else we got. So a couple of things that I think could be interesting here is that most folks, they don't really know where to go when they might need a little bit of help. And I'm not talking about like technical support help. Maybe you need an Azure expert. Maybe, you need something like freelancers and things of that nature. I've been working with one consulting company, and over and over and over, I'm like, we've got partners. So just simply on the help here, down in here, there's this find an expert where you can find somebody that does just about anything and that you can use them. Now, the reason I'm talking about also Git freelancers is that some people are like, oh, okay, well, some of these, if you bring in, maybe get some additional help, they could be expensive. And yes, I understand that. You can also come over here and looking at this, there's also this Azure Freelancer. This is completely on another separate site, versus ours. This one is going to Upwork, so upwork.com. Hopefully those internet problems don't last there. But this is where if you're wanting somebody to build like a smaller type of application, or maybe you got some smaller tasks, I totally would use one of these type of people. They're all certified, and yeah, I think there's a lot of kind of cool stuff you can do in here. Okay, so the other thing, well, I guess I'm already in here, is that nobody clicks on this. When we look at the data for some of these buttons, nobody clicks on it. So now we're like, okay, maybe UX should like find a better way to like surface these. But if I ever want to know what is the latest and greatest in Azure, this is usually one of the spots that I go to. So like, what is today, the 11th? IoT core services are generally available. This is Windows IoT core in a container. And you can also see right here, like this one, this is probably a pretty good announcement for PowerShell 7 support and Azure Functions. I actually had no clue that was G8 until right this second. So we're learning together as we go here. I don't know what's wrong with my internet. I'm hardwired into the internet, so it's a little weird, but maybe it'll get there. A few other things that I thought that was useful in that last dialogue that we were just in, then we'll maybe go play with some other things, was the roadmap. So where are we headed next? What's kind of upcoming? Where should you kind of go to if you want to see some of the stuff coming up? So this roadmap right here, this has got the 10th. Yeah, so actually I was hoping that they had more of the roadmap in here, but maybe I'm not in the right place. But there is another spot that you can kind of like think of in here. And whenever we do like build, whenever we put together, what did we do for build? There's this thing, and it's in here. It's basically it's called the Book of News. So you can think of it as if you do search for something like Book of News build 2020. We'll do a quick search right over here on this. It'll take us a second or so. This one will come back with a full list of everything that we announced at that prior event. So this is something, again, hardly nobody kind of takes care of. Nobody's like really wanting to say, hey, yeah, this is a great resource. I never heard anybody say anything. Actually, in all of the folks that talk about it, the only one, Build 5.9's website, you may be familiar with his stuff. This is a very good, solid resource also to kind of learn and kind of keep up with things. Let me drop that one in here. Let's see, did that paste right? There we go. Well, I double pasted it. I'll send that through. Maybe that worked. No. Okay. There we go. Okay, that one landed there. Just wanted to make sure I paste some of these kind of in as we go, and I probably will be able to maybe give a little bit more of a wrap up. So in case you didn't get all this, we have to have it somewhere. The other thing was definitely over here in the, going back over to the dashboard here, was the ability to sign out when inactive. This is something that, you know, you got your own PC, maybe, you know, we're all living in a world of like COVID, you know, maybe you don't need it to sign out, but internally, you know, with our most of our accounts, we all have sign outs on these things. And I would say in general, it's probably a good idea to have a sign out kind of set there. And then one other feature, and we'll leave out of this kind of section, is that the double clicks that you could use to do to change the themes. Does anybody remember that, where you would like double click and you would change themes here? We got rid of it. Gone. You can still change them. You can come back up here, you know, and you can change them in here. We used to even have an additional option that was like enable that back again. But yeah, if you've been around in the Azure world for a little while, you probably remember you could double click and you could rotate through all of the themes. It was definitely a hated feature that we eventually had to get rid of. Yeah, and I think the other thing, at least that I wanted to show, was that I used to work on a project, Windows Template Studio. Does anybody remember Windows Template Studio? Maybe like raise your hand or something. It'd be interesting if anybody knows what Windows Template Studio is. The short version of it was that it was a template generator for UWP apps. Now it's morphed into a couple of things, and there's a brand new team that's kind of like taken on. There we go, Michael. A couple of teams that's kind of like moved on, and I'm not on this project anymore. But we created a bunch of dashboards. Now these were completed by people like way smarter than I am. That put all these dashboards together. But one of the things that we were using with this, and it's absolutely, you know, the way that we wanted to kind of monitor this outside of like alerts and rules and things like that, was really, we sometimes have a bunch of additional monitors or additional screens that we can use. And so what we did was we basically took on a high def screen. We posted it where we were walking through, and it was more of a, you just walk by, you glance, but we were just using an Azure portal running in full screen. And, you know, you can do things like up here at the top, like you can do things like, you know, setting like the auto refresh. You want to only span for like the 24 hours. What I find is that you can be pretty darn creative with your dashboards. So, you know, markdown, images. There's a vast variety of things that you can kind of put like on a template. This one's about as good as we were able to kind of make it. But I will say that there's a couple of nice uses for that. You know, and also you can come in here and you can do things like share dashboards. This one is already shared. Like I said, it was created by somebody like, you know, smarter than me and so forth. Okay, let's see what else we have here today. So I've got to go. Yeah, I'm going to have to go. You know, I kind of got a little rough list of some of the things I think we should talk about. Let me just do this really quick. Cloud Shell. Since you're the Azure group, you've probably used Cloud Shell in some sort of fashion over the last little bit. Let me take this one. I'm going to move this up, and we're going to try to connect to the terminal. If you noticed in the past, this PowerShell was like a preview. Obviously, that's gone now. It's there. I customized this prompt. So, you know, a lot of people, they have like really fancy like prompts, like if they were inside of let me see if I've got a directory. Test one, let's see. Yeah, so like in this example, I have a folder called test one, and this is all of the current like statuses. By default, they won't ship the Cloud Shell with this on there. But if you want to kind of learn how to do this or how that I did this, I've got a couple of dev.to articles that you could check out. So like, you run like a git status here. You could see, we've got a new file here, readme, and then you've got dir color. So yeah, it's waiting, for this to be like committed into that. Let me do this. I'm going to, let's just clear back out of that. So up here at the top here, this was just the documentation. They had to add in one eventually for like copying and pasting because folks were having some issues with that. Text font size was obviously still in here as well. And this one was actually a better way to upload and download files. I don't know if you know, but it's pretty easy to get files inside of, this. And then over here, this one right here is openings in a new session. So what's kind of interesting is that, we'll see here. Oopsie, I was gonna switch over to this other chat. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, it's just another version of that. It's just Azure dev.tips, and you can kind of get more of them from there. Yeah, and then I mentioned dev.to if you want to get your Cloud Shell kind of environment, kind of up like this right here. Where this takes you to is shell.azure.com. When you click on this button here, and actually we'll just go ahead and click on it. And we'll open this up because we'll probably switch over and look at this one since it's a bigger screen. And by the way, sorry for using Mac today. I've had to go back and forth with a couple of different things at work, but I keep my good Windows down here at the bottom too. Okay, so yeah, so this is the shell.azure.com. Basically, it's a full screen version of this. One other thing that is interesting is that over here in Windows, with in the Microsoft store, you can download the Windows terminal from there. Windows Terminal 1.0 came out at build, and the only reason that I'm bringing this up right here is that you can download the terminal, and by default now, the Windows terminal has Azure Cloud Shell like baked into it. So if you don't want to go to a web browser, you can totally, jump into it, straight from here. You obviously can do it through Visual Studio Code. There's a mobile application and even documentation. We have live docs, which you can do even more kind of cool and fun stuff there. Let's see. Okay, and so one of the other things, I was just going to mention this one. Let me go back into that test. Was it test one? CD test. Autocomplete for the win. Let's go ls, and then let's just do this code readme.md. I don't have anything in it. Hello world is here. So this is you're probably familiar with like Visual Studio Code. So what this is that inside of Cloud Shell, they went ahead and put code into this. Yeah, so they went ahead and they put code into this, or Visual Studio Code. Think of it as the lighter, obviously the lighter version of this. You can come in here, you can go to the command palette. A lot of the things that you probably already like know and love, like copy, which is the one that I use the most, probably like copy line down, or one of these other ones that's in here. So you get some of this already by default. But I guess what I'm wanting to say is that, let's see, let's close this one. If I do this right here, I'm never going to get out of it. And honestly, I mean, I know that's been like a running joke for a while, but I don't know, for me, there's just a lot better, editors and things of that nature that we could use. And so normally I default to Nano, but if I have access to code, then I'm always going to use code. And you don't even have to use it right here. There is, is it this button? Yeah, it's this button right here. So if you want to navigate through your Cloud Shell environment pretty darn fast, you can come into, you can just click on this button right here. You can see here is some of the terminal configuration stuff that I had in here. And tips and there's this little empty tips and tricks file down here at the very at the very, very, very bottom that I'm not doing anything with. But yeah, this is kind of how I've got mine set up. Where I think it really makes the most is that when you want to actually be able to type easily and also use some of the features and functionality, like finding text in them, I don't know, it's hard. And I would even say that yeah, you can totally do it and it works and everything, but some of the richness, I guess, of Visual Studio Code just kind of comes out here. Awesome. How we doing? Everybody's doing good. Even documentation. Wow. Yeah, the thing there. Let's see. Doc Azure VMs. I'm just picking one that I have used in the past. Oh, and there's another one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one's more cooler. Yeah, I'm gonna do Azure Billing Docs, and let's see in here. Azure Billing, basically we want the API that takes us into this. Maybe one of these will get us there. But what I was looking for was, actually we'll just go back. We'll use the VMs just because I want to be able to find it kind of quickly. VM Azure Docs. What's kind of interesting is that once this finishes up a bit, you can connect from Docs into your local environment, and you can run and try out some of the stuff kind of live. So here's an example of creating a resource group, and there is one for billing. I probably just didn't search right, where you can copy this and put this in your own editor, or over here, which is what I kind of like. It's like try it. This just opens up Cloud Shell in the browser. And from here, you can actually run through each one of these steps and kind of experiment with it, kind of as you go, which I think is interesting because it's definitely the mode of how I learn. I'm always doing something I'll take a window like this one. I'll try to get it to dock. Oh yeah, I'm in Mac. So Mac doesn't work really great with docking. Even though I do have a docking app that should be working. But yeah, anyway, there we go. It's trying a little bit to work there. I think that's just one of the new kind of ways I think people are especially learning and trying to do a few more things. Another thing that I think is kind of cool was that when we were, let's go back to our shell. Let's go to our shell.azure. Let's see, maybe I got rid of it. Let's go to shell.azure.com. I'm just going to go to the web browser. A few of the things that I think in here that's a bit interesting is that the first thing is that underneath, kind of the hood here, this is just a container that's running. I did a couple of posts in the past about getting into the container, running some LSB information to understand what's really behind the hood, learning that you've got access to things like Python, which could be pretty cool. And let's see if this is going to get me there. Let's say reload site. Let's see what that does for us. If not, I may go back over and uh-oh. There we go. Maybe it's thinking, maybe I'm just pushing it just too hard today. All right, we selected a repository. We selected a group here. Yeah, so once you get in here, you're familiar with AZ. So AZ over here, this is just the Azure CLI. And I was talking a little bit about, putting that this is running, underneath, you'll see it's just a container. You can do things like, run Python The LSB releases LSB underscore release dash A for architecture, I believe. Is that it? LSB lowercase a? Yeah. So you can do this now. One of the things that I'm going to tell you about this is that this one right here is 16.04. One of the things I've been meaning to do, I've had this Cloud Shell instance for a long time, but creating another Cloud Shell instance and seeing if it picks up a newer VM image of this, especially when I start to think a little bit more about like security and some of those other sorts of things. Could be interesting. But so this this AZ, scrolling up here, this Azure CLI here, it's the same exact, Azure CLI that you have pretty much like everywhere. So if I type in AZ here, give this just a second, you'll see it's the same sort of thing. Come on, my computer, maybe I've got too much stuff open today. But yeah, this will return at some point. While that's thinking there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down a bit because everybody's probably dealt with this sort of thing. You do AZ, you may type in like web app. And so like right here, you're seeing, oh, okay, so we've got AZ web app. Okay, here's the next kind of like list of things, create and more. There was a preview extension that came out a long time ago, actually, and they decided to keep it in preview. Yeah, my font's still at large. Wish I could make this font a bit larger than this. But a couple of the things that they did there, and yeah, I'm still waiting. This totally has not finished returning to. That's the longest AZ ever, so there may be something going on weird behind the scenes here. But one of the things is there's the interactive mode, so you can do something like AZ interactive. If you do this for the very first time, so it's having a bit of an issue, and we'll go check and see why it's doing that. But if you run this for the first time, you do have to install it. I've done a bunch of kind of playing around in my Azure Cloud Shell, and I guess somehow I have broken it. So let's see if we can resort back to, there we go. Let's see if we're going to resort back to this instance of it, so you don't have to watch me try to troubleshoot it. Okay, so I'm doing AZ and then just interactive. And if this one's too slow, we can always keep moving on to the next ones. But yeah, this should get us there. I need the SpongeBob thing of like 3 hours later or 1 hour later. Let me do this too. While that one is thinking for a second, I was going to just try to maybe like sign in over here. That way I can get back to an instance of this. Let me go over here and let's look at this. Let me paste this one in. I think my login may have signed out. That's okay. We're going to try it. Let's take this one. At this point, all of you could have signed in as me. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I have no clue what is taking that top of the processing units down. Maybe I need to shut down a few things. Let's go all in with like shutting down. Let's close this type of stuff. Normally it doesn't have that big of an issue. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. Force quit. Oh, it said application not responding. Get rid of a few of these. Force quit. Wow, there's too many of these things. Let's see. Okay. All I'm trying to do is get back to my AZ interactive shell. And we would need that one closed as well. All right, so let's try one more thing here. So we had Hyper open, we had AZ interactive. Something has been killing my thing here. Collecting power usage information. Come on, it's fairly simple what I want to do here today. PowerShell usage information. Let me see here. Maybe this one was cannot import. Yeah, I don't think I want to troubleshoot that at the moment. Okay, cool. Something happened. I'm not sure why exactly this one is going so crazy, but I think we're in there now. So like with AZ Interactive, so we were just taking the example. We were just taking the example over here for web app. So we did AZ web app, but with AZ Interactive here, this is the complete interactive, because of the name states, experience. So like web app, create. The next thing is that what name would you like? This one's required, this one's required, and this one's required. So you can basically use this to not only just do a little bit of like exploration, like you could do account, and then I'm just doing space, yeah, clear. You can get access tokens. You can lock it, set it, show it here, list, and then I probably would want, maybe for example, this one. And if I am signed in, which I don't think I'm signed in on this one, it will even help you with pulling down your subscription and all of that like cool and wonderful like information that already exist in there. You can do some other kind of cool things. You can do these things right here of like, let me just pick and say we want to do, there we go, web app. Actually, so here's all of them. We can do web app here, and this just sets that scope. So what are you saying, Michael? I'm saying that you can come back in and you can always do, the typical over here, AZ, web app, create, and then try to figure out the rest of those lines. Or you can take a little bit of the advantage over here with the using AZ Interactive. Has anybody seen that before? Anybody been working with this before? There's a few other things that you can do. Just raise your hand, and I'll make sure. I just want to make sure if anybody's had it. Great, it's great. That's real life. That's the way work is. Upcoming interactive extension that might fix it usually breaks when they update Cloud Shell image. Interesting. Yes, all very, very, very good stuff. All right. The other thing is that, I mean, obviously it tells you kind of some of the things that you can do down here at the very bottom. But if we wanted to, let's see, let's go in here. Sorry, sometimes it's like, I'm like, what? Why aren't you finishing up for me? Like, let's just do this one. We could do a touch there. We could do Boston UG dot text. We could come back in here. We could do ls. We'll just do an ls -l on the same word. Boston UG dot text. And there we can kind of see here. It kind of created it. But basically, you can run a lot of those type of commands that and love. Right here. You don't ever have to kind of leave this thing. So I think that's kind of pretty cool. And yeah, you can go back scopes. You can go back scopes and a few more type of things. Anyway, it's something that I've been using and something that I think I've been spending a little bit of time with. Especially like just showing people, especially new to Azure. This is probably where you'd want to. This is probably something you may want to take a look at. Okay. So a little bit of a mix here. One of the things that I thought about today, going into what we could do is there was this thing, Azure static apps. Okay, Azure static apps. Where are you at? Let's see, static. I know this is in here. Static web apps. Okay, so this is the proper terminology here. Let me just see first. Has anybody worked with or done anything kind of in the static app space? Anybody kind of played around with it? or anything of that nature, that'd be a bit interesting for me to know. Because I was going to show you a few things that maybe we could do with it. Not use AZ Interactive. Awesome. If you learn one thing, I'm feeling pretty good. Green screen.websites on static apps. Let's see what this is. Is that just the name of it? Green screen dot. Is it a .website? Is this it? Now, I'm hoping that this doesn't pull up anything crazy. Security fail. Yeah, there's definitely a security fail. You know what? Thankfully, I'll let this finish resolving. But whatever the little thing that's slowing down this PC is, green screen.website. I love to see stuff people built kind of with this. For the others, have you done anything or seen anything with it? Okay, cool. I was trying to load up your site, Robert, but it's just not liking me at the moment. Or maybe there it is. Nope. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get rid of all these red errors. These things are just like not good. Like, leave me alone. Sweet. Yeah. So there it is. So let me just show you something kind of quick here. So we just did a web app showing AZ Interactive. If we come in here, let's just see. I can kind of show you, I think, how fast you can kind of like start to work with something like this. Let's just go Hugo Boston. Let's go into that same directory here. And so Hugo, if you're not familiar with it, Hugo is a static website like generator. And so, you know, if you've got like Windows, you know, you can use like Chocolatey to install it. If you're on Linux, you know, you can use like Brew to kind of like install it and kind of get going from there. But it's a very simple format, and one that I actually love because I can kind of get up and running with this thing pretty quickly. And so like you can go Hugo new site blog. Okay, now we've actually got a blog created. We can go into this folder here. We can see, okay, cool. We've got kind of like a layout of that. The first thing is I'll go ahead and do a git init here because what I'm going to do is I am going to copy and paste a theme that I like, or it's at least my starting theme whenever we need something kind of like up and going that's fast. So I'm taking just this this theme right here. It's just a generic theme that I think looks pretty good. Just because I want to go ahead and kind of get my system, my environments, and everything like that up to speed. So now that I've got a theme, I've also got a site that's here, and so I can go into the code config.toml. Let's see here. Okay, and so right here is the. Let me just go. Yeah, that's fine. Nope, I don't want that one. Coming back over here, I can come into this right here and I can just add in a tiny bit of text. I can go, so we can use this theme and then we'll just run it. I could do theme here. We could type in if we wanted to. This was A-N-A, let's see, A-N-A-N-K-E. Let's see if I got that right. Okay, so we just added in a theme. You know, all that we're gonna say is like, Boston UG Hugo site, and yes, I'll capitalize this here, and I'll make sure we got one more space over here, and we'll save that file. Once we save that file, we could add like a new post here. So it's basically you can do Hugo new post. That's the folder, and then we could name this like whatever we wanted to, like first post.md. And now we've got a post, and now all you got to do is just run it locally. So it's like Hugo server D. And since I'm using Hyper, I actually have hyperlinks for this thing. So this is basically the structure of that site. pretty simple. Inside of this, you can see here's the first post. The reason I kind of like this theme and this thing is that, like, social sharing, stuff like that's kind of already built in, numbering, and it is super lightweight. The speed performance on this thing is pretty amazing. So let's see, we're gonna mix in a few other things this time. Let's see, so there is that site, it's running, it's great, it's wonderful. We're gonna do Command C here, and we're gonna stop it. So let me go back a folder here. Okay, so we got blog, and let's just go Hugo. Okay, and the reason I'm just running Hugo is I'm looking to get a public site built. Yeah, and there we go. I got a public. I couldn't remember kind of how it was kind of like figured out. Okay, so we're in the blog folder. Everybody good here so far? We just created just a simple Hugo site. Nothing kind of crazy or anything like that was put in here. One of the things that we can do now that we've got this, we're going to need to put this in a repository anywhere. Let me know, has anybody worked with the new GitHub CLI, GH or GH CLI? If you have, it'd be interesting to know, because if you haven't, I'm going to show you a little bit of magic here that hopefully will help your life if you're working with Git a lot. Okay, cool. I don't see anybody that raised their hand here. So with the GitHub tool, it's just GH. And this tells you what some of the things are that you can work with. I will admit, the main reason that I use it is because I don't want to go to github.com and like fill out anything there. So what I would traditionally do here is that I would go in and I do GH repo create. I would give it a name, and so we'll just use Boston UG. We'd want to make this directory public. We want to give this a description, and I'm just going to put this home page for Boston UG. And then I think I could set up some more things. On this one, we're going to, yeah, let's get rid of the wiki. So enable wiki. Uh-oh, hopefully I didn't do that right. That should be a false, and maybe I can just go from there. Okay, oops, hopefully it didn't mess up. Let's see here. If it did, that's okay. Take this, let's just go home, H-O-M-E, homepage for Boston UG. Maybe I didn't break out of that before. Command, Control Z. Yeah, don't you just love it when these things break out of it? There we go. So that obviously totally did not work. Create, we did what? Boston UG here. We're definitely going, we need it to be public. And then just for a description, Boston. There we go. There's something with the wrapping here. What's kind of neat is that using the GitHub tool, and this is using my SSH key that I've already got, I can create a repo. I can set it to public. By default, it's private. I can give it a description. I can do things like turn on the wiki, turn off the wiki. I can add it to a team. I could turn on and off issues. I could actually create an issue completely through the command line. So since I did this whole step to avoid using GitHub, now I'm actually going to GitHub. So here is the repo, and we're going to go over here to repositories, just to kind of show you how kind of this thing works. There is my amazing description, and as you can see, it doesn't have the little private mark here, anything like that. So we're in pretty good shape at the moment. So what we would need to do in order to start working with like static websites or whatever is now that we are here, we do have our public folder, which looks good. I would probably, I'll probably go ahead and go into public, and then let's just look here for a second. Okay, I think I'm okay. I'm just going to go here and then git add period, because we want everything. We probably want to git commit am, and then initial commit. Does anybody like put good messages in here? I don't know. If you look at like some repos, putting a good solid message in here seems to be like missing a lot. Initial commit, like, okay, that's that's great. And then I can do git push. We're gonna do -f because we're just gonna force it. Actually, we didn't have to do that. And then it's like the git at github.com. Let's see here, MB Crump. And, you know, you can get the SSH, you can get this kind of URL if you wanted to through the GitHub type of browser. .git, and then we want to push this into our master. So if everything worked well, we should have something kind of going on here. One more other kind of cool thing you can do with just GH is you can also do a GH on a view and be able to like view readmes and a few other things. Okay, so let's refresh here. And okay, so the main thing that I pushed in here was the public. The reason I went ahead and just pushed everything in here is we're about to use GitHub Actions. Does anybody use GitHub Actions or has played with any GitHub Actions? Yes, thank you, Bill. That's awesome. That's the link that we needed. If anybody's played with like GitHub Actions. So GitHub Actions by default, they're kind of hard. If you click over here in GitHub Actions, there's a couple of them that's like, oh, okay, you know, you can start with some of these workflows. One of the things that we do with Azure Static Apps is that it goes ahead and it takes care of the hard things, like build processes. You know, when there's a new change to the repo, recompiles, redeploys, recreates that public folder and stuff. And so, I don't know, one of the reasons why I thought we'd swing over here kind of fast, just to look at it, is that with the static apps, I can come in here and just want to walk you through a tiny bit of this. Create resource groups. If you're like me, I use this one, RG_delete me, primarily because I usually have like scripts that will run that will delete this resource like tonight, my time. I think there's another one in here. Yeah, delete me one. Anyway, that's just good practices. There's automation tools, and actually I've got scripts I can share with you if you're like me and you don't forget to delete resources. For the name here, Boston UG. Oh yeah, you can't put that. You just do this one. For the region, I'm over here on the West Coast. Oh, I forgot. So I'm gonna have to refill this out a little bit because you have to be in the production portal, and where I'm currently at is one of the previews of this thing. Let me sign back in. It's okay. I wish it carried over, but it does make me refill that out. But it doesn't take but just a second. All right, switching over to the production portal. Does anybody have any questions as we're going? Okay, I want to make sure. Of course. Yeah. Of course. This is the wonderful things of everything. Asking you to re-sign in again. Let's see here. Let me get this one going for us. You can see I don't really spend a ton of time in the production portal. Let's see here. Gosh. Yep. Let's see, where were we just at here? Let me try this one more time. Let me just hit this button. Actually, we'll go to our portal.azure.com. Actually, it's this one. This is actually kind of another tip in and of itself, is that as you can see right here, we do have features that you can turn on and off, while it's already doing this. There is feature flags that you can turn on and off. And just while you're here, if you are ever in the preview and you want to get into the public portal, that link right there, if you examine that, that will take you back over to the public portal. And I'm just going to run it while we're here. Don't you just like tips within like tips? aka.ms. Nope, not that one. I want to go to public portal. We'll run this one. As you can see, this is it just flew by, but there's a feature flag that gets rid of all the preview stuff. Let me see if I can log into this one. It should let me into this. I don't work that often in just the public one, but it should allow me into this. You need to use appropriate certs. Huh. Okay, so that's okay. I've got another way we're going to get around this. aka.ms public. I tell you, one of the cool things is that you get used to like finding alternative ways of getting around road blockers. Yes, I do have a couple of private accounts as well. Security for the win. And I've been doing all these streams on like security. I'll just save the default password. Awesome. It's kind of like people that like do like lawn work or whatever. Their own like house looks like a complete utter mess, but like what they do for other people, it's like amazing. Okay, so we're going to go static web apps again. Click here. Inside of this, I'm going to go add, and this is, I'll be able to kind of show you a little bit more of it now this way. Resource group. We're going to do delete me if there's not already one. Maybe I've created. Looks like we're good there. We're going to go back to Alston. We're going to go back just west for now. We're going to sign in with GitHub. Now I'm signed in. So why did I do all of this? I really want to show you a bit about how easy it is to kind of switch over and do this. So MB Crump here. Inside of this, let's just go for, what was it? Boston? Yeah, this one. Boston UG. We deployed this on the master branch. If I go to this next screen right here, this is a very important screen. It's looking for the default location. Ours is just in the GitHub root, the folder, and that folder was just called public. So if we look over here, this one, we'll see this is the public folder, and we're supplying the path to that. Now, what's interesting here is that this is for Azure Functions. So you can have a static app and call Azure Functions. We're not going to do that here, and I'm just going to leave it as just API. Here is where you can go ahead and set up your tags. We'll hit review. Actually, we don't need review. We just need create. And then create. And our deployment is starting. So what's happening behind the scenes here? Okay, there's a bunch of little things that's happening. If we look at it, there has just been a GitHub action that has been completed inside of our repository because we have it rights that it can go into that repository. The next thing that is happening here is now this static web app has given us a URL. So this URL that's over here, it says, hey, it's live and waiting for your content. A lot of people are like, well, why aren't we getting anything in here yet? And that's just simply because if we look at this one and we go into like configuration, let's see here. Let's go into environments. It's one of these. Yeah, so here is this one. So what this is saying right here is that, hey, there's one production environment per out. It checked and it's waiting for a deployment. So going back and taking, let's see, let's take a look at our directory again. So we're going to go into content, and now that we're in content, we're going to do an LSL. We're going to go into post, and let's see what we got in here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do code first post.md. Let's load this one up into Visual Studio Code. And this one, I'm just going to put Boston UG first post. And then, hello, hello world. We'll save that one out. That should look good there. Let's see, what else will we do now? Yeah, we can come back over here and we can do the, I don't know, just the quick version to kind of get it back in to our repo. We can do our git add here. We could just do the just to git commit again, you know, update blog post. And then we can run the command that we were just running to push. Yeah, actually, let me just back up a few lines and see if we've got it still in there. That one. And yeah, we're done. It should be in there. So what we'll see now is over in our screen here, we do this refresh button. Okay, by that time you just saw it already says ready. I come back to overview, and then I'm just clicking on this one. We should have our site. Okay, we've got our site. Cobblers, good tip within the tips. My company has some things on private preview. Cobbler shoes. So we have our site. The reason you're not seeing a post come up, this is probably a good thing. I think that's going to be a date related issue. So coming into this one, let's just refresh this again. Let's go Boston UG. We're going to go into content post. We will look at this first post here. The date on the server isn't the same current date. So what we would probably want to, basically this time so-called hasn't passed yet. So instead of it being, let's just do this. Let's take this one. I'm just going to make it easy. Go back here. We'll do this for like a month ago. We're going to go paste. We're going to go copy. And we're going to switch back over. Let's see how fast it can do it. Let's go with this one. Nope, not there yet. I was just wondering what the speed is from picking it up, recompiling it, and then putting it back out there and being deployed. I did that inline, I think. Yeah, I did commit that inline. Okay, so it's not showing me the crazy speed unless I've got another error in this somewhere else. Go over to the environments, and then what do we have here? Still says ready, browse. Okay, so there may be something else that I'm missing. Why that first post isn't showing up there? Does anybody know? Oh, there was a flag in there that said draft. You know what I'll do? Since I really want to show the speed here. Let's go edit, and let's change this. That was totally it. False. And let's scroll on down. Let's commit. Now, let's see how fast it picks up this time. Commit. All right, done. Let's go back over here. This one. We're going to hit refresh. I'm pretty sure this is going to do it. Refresh. That was totally set to false. Interesting. There's something that totally has to do with that. That's why it's not returning back. I thought it had something to do with the date, but maybe not. Also, it could be caching. We could go right over here. We can go incognito, and then we could try it one more time over here. But basically, I think you kind of get that it's pretty easy to get up and started, and especially running with these static web apps. Okay. Let this finish loading. Okay, it doesn't show it, but the one last thing I'll show you on this topic is that back over here inside of the repository, if we go in and we look Actions. Where's the workflow file? Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay here. Here it is. It's down here at the bottom. Yeah, so here you can see, here is the current job. So build and deploy job. Here you can see, what did it just do? It set up a job. This is the virtual environment. It came in here and it built a container just to use. It ran a checkout. So it checked out everything that was the latest stuff that was in here. So you can see this was the commit number. It did a build, which we totally needed this build. The build looks good. Same sort of build output that we saw over here when we ran just the Hugo thing. When you run Hugo, actually I need to go back a folder, but actually I need to go back 2 folders. Okay, basically this sort of thing right here. You can see this came over here, knew what it was, knew what to do, and we have our post-run actions. Then we wrapped up a bit here with just completing the job. So I don't know, cool. What do you think? Does anybody think this may be kind of a useful thing? I think where it starts to really shine is that when you kind of get over here, there is a, so John Papa created a Angular, let's see, what was it? It was an Angular Learn Docs Azure Static Web. Yes, all of those words to find what I'm looking for. Let's see what this comes back with. If you want to learn more about the function like piece of that, totally could learn more about the function, the function piece. He's probably got a link to it in here, and it's probably even in this post right here. Anyway, he did some kind of cool things where he wired up an Azure function to talk back and forth to the database and stuff. So could be some kind of cool stuff for people to talk about. Let's see, how much time we got? I think we have, what, about 11 more minutes? I tell you what, if anybody has any questions, like I said, feel free just to drop them in kind of as we're going. So I think this probably would be the link to that, that site. I'll take this one, paste this in here, and there that goes. Yeah, anybody's got any questions, let me know. The GitHub CLI is totally something that you should take a look at using, and I think that would be, I think that some of that would be a ton of fun. Okay, very cool. So I kind of liked the whole thought of kind of like playing around, seeing like some of these other sort of stuff. One button that I didn't check out or I didn't show you was that, let's go back into this folder, and I'm going to go into Boston UG. And now that I'm in there, there's this button. Does people have this button yet? Maybe, I don't know. This I thought is supposed to be special, but maybe it's not special anymore. Or has anybody seen that button? I'm just going and verifying over here. Like the demo, thanks. High five to you. Okay, so I don't know if this is by default. What I did was I just took a incognito here. But if you don't, you can totally take a look here, but you may or may not have access to this green button. But then there's a couple of pieces in here that I think is a bit interesting, and kind of, like new, kind of like, kind of like as we go. The beta limit 2's been reached. That's okay. I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to delete some of these other ones. There we go. We're going to hit new. Oh, I've already eliminated all those. Yep, delete this one. Code space. That one's okay. I'm going to delete it. I'm still saying it's like, okay, you got to get rid of another one. I'm going to get rid of that. Let me in, please. So this is going to be a cool kind of like experiment that we could look at. Let's see here. Looking at Bill's screen here, is that GitHub desktop. Yeah, so what was missing, or what's missing on that one is that I'll just take this repository here, is that this little drop down, there's this thing open with code spaces. So this is something that was talked a little bit about at Build, but I thought it may be kind of interesting just to kind of go in and show you a few things with this. Again, I apologize about the internet speed. I'm not sure. Maybe I've got to kick my son off of Fortnite. Fortnite's killing it. I don't know. The whole computer is having a bit of an issue. But think of it like this. Is everybody still able to hear me okay? One thing I need to check is 4%. Let's do this really quick. Let's see if I can get this to work. Take these out. And okay, I bet you can hear me pretty good now. Hopefully you can hear me pretty good now. Make sure these picked up. Okay. Disconnect those other ones. Perfect. Okay. So we have a repo that was, yes, I'm good at keeping a bunch of stuff open. Let's do this. Let's go over to GitHub, and we're just going to go right back into the repository we were looking at. Repositories, and then we're going to go Boston, and we went here and we went open with code spaces. When we did that, this is what we have now. So what's kind of interesting here is that, you know, if you have like, you know, Visual Studio, you know, code, you know, you can think of, oh, okay, cool. So there's a bunch of things here that looks really similar to the things that we have over here in this one. And with this code space, what's interesting is that this is basically Visual Studio code within a browser connected to your GitHub repository that can have all of the existing extensions that you already have. It can have all of the live share functionality that you would probably want if you're going to let people collaborate. And so what I'm going to do here is I am going to start actually, we'll just do read only for today. I'm going to start a read only session here. And let's see. Now I've got an invite code. And so I kind of like having something sometimes interactive for us to kind of play with together. And you can teach me things too, because there's totally, I don't know it all. But if you click on that link, you'll be invited to a read-only kind of like session with me, and there is nothing in this repo. Good night, Ricardo. Thank you for spending time here with me. But if anybody clicks on that and they join in, we can see them adding in, which is a bit interesting because when they're starting to navigate throughout this code that we have here, so like this is just the good old-fashioned HTML file, and we would be getting color highlighting, but I think there may be something that's preventing some of that color highlighting. We can see like we've got an M for modified file over here. There's a sitemap that's also been modified. But what's kind of interesting is that if I run into a problem and I wanted to get some additional help on it, let's just say you're with your family. You're at Red Robin, which is it's a kind of a popular thing over here in Washington. You're in Red Robin and you need to connect to your code base for whatever reason. Your husband or your wife is like screaming at you for like connecting up because you've got the kids or whatever. You can basically take your environment with you wherever you're currently at. So hey, Sean, VS Code Online, is it being served or running in assembly? That's a really good question. So I couldn't really tell you the answer there. So this is, well, it's a complete web browser based experience. So, WebAssembly is what I'm thinking there. Yeah, I don't know if that helps or not, but yeah, it's just a web browser based. So it looks like we have a guest. And so let's see, let's go to our collaborators here. Hey, there's Jason. So Jason, if the two of you, Bill, there we go. That's what I wanted to show, was that if I have a couple of you in here, as you're kind of like highlighting stuff, or maybe even as you're working, now I should have turned it to an edit session. As you're starting to type stuff in here or highlight or whatever, I can kind of see where you're at in the code. And so obviously this is, you've got an application, you may want another person to jump in and kind of like, learn, understand more. You can do that. Let's see, let's accept Steve Jones, you're in. Everybody's in. Actually, this repo could have been edit because there's nothing in it but just our little bit of like sample code. Okay, cool. So here's kind of obviously like where the files are at. This is the current like changes. This is when we want to do things like run. We want to do a little bit of debugging there. These are the extensions that I've been using, at least so far. These extensions do carry on with you. For the cloud hosted spaces, so yeah, it said that I'm in a beta, so I'll only get 2. But what's kind of cool is that down here, you can re-forward ports. What is the name of the tool that will allow you to put ports, local ports back over to NG? Let's see. Oh, it's this one, NG ROK. Let's see. Yeah, there you go, Grok. Yeah, so I use this one quite a bit. So tunneling and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a ton of them. There's a ton of these things. This is just the one that I've been using for forever. They also let me use it for free forever. So yeah, you can use this forever. But instead of having to use this tool, obviously you wouldn't need to do some of that because you can re-forward those ports. We have a few videos, I think, where we kind of dig into that, like issues. We come in here, we could hit this one. We could add an issue to this repository here. We could save it out. You can close out of those. This just shows, this is just me signed in. And then down here, user snippets. So think of this, you could like share. Oh yeah, Jason is doing a feature here on focusing my attention. And so I believe that's you right there, I believe. But you can bring somebody over to it. So while I can't show you there's the others like shared screen, but I could be in here into a document. Oh, that was just that other thing. I could be like inside of a document here, and if I want to go in, you can see like timelines. This timeline right here shows when the initial commit was. Yeah, there won't be any changes to this one. But if I go in and drill down into like this one, for example, and I open this timeline, it should be starting to show a couple of different, actually, let's go into the markdown file. Where markdown's in content, this one. Maybe this will work. Let's take the timeline here. There we go. So this is another kind of quick version where you can tell kind of, hey, here was a couple of the changes that we made. Here's the ones that we made. You can kind of do it all within this code space. There's a ton of stuff that I kind of left out, but at least it was one thing that I thought that others may kind of enjoy, seeing that you can do a lot of this stuff through your browser, and that I've also spent a little bit of time using this on my iPad. So there's many ways. Okay, I think I'm about at time for today. I did have a few things that that may be kind of interesting to explore. I did a tips and tricks on security. I know all of you are like, dude, I just watched this. Like, there's no security going on there. That may be true from my personal workflow here, but there is some like security best practices. It's something I've been doing and enjoying a bunch kind of on the stream here. So yeah, there's some of these. I recently did this one on secure using Azure Functions with key vaults. And the one that I really wanted to show you was this one right here. And this one is that basically you can work with the billing APIs. You can set up different things to make it easier. I don't know, does anybody here even use the billing APIs or even know that they like existed? The billing APIs, they're very interesting. Let's see if we can find one. Let's see if this one does it. Yeah, actually this one should get us there. See, looky there, I've just found a bug in the program or in the application. Here are some of the queries. Sometimes it provided you a sample of how to grab the data. Let's see, try it. So here's an example of doing a post request. External cloud, I may not have any data in here. But the billing APIs, really, it's really a lot of it is just, it's inside of this, this post right here, where you can query these things. You can set up all the different types of parameters. I've got a few samples of how at least I was playing with it just to return back some data, but totally worth taking a look at. And then, you know, talking a little bit about, you know, maybe like, you know, personal like stuff is this one for certifications. So certifications, obviously there's a lot of different ones. Probably most of you already have some of those type of certifications, or you may have some of these, but like I was looking at a way, you know, I know most folks are wanting to get some sort of jobs or, you know, I work a lot with one consulting company, and they were heavy AWS, and right now they're trying to meet some of the demands that they're needing for Azure. And so anyway, these sort of like certifications is at least some of the things that they've been thinking about. I've only done 2 of these. I did this one, which is pretty easy, and then the developer one. But yeah, this is also just something else. Am I doing any live sessions talking through Azure security best practices? You know, no, not at the moment. We do a tips and tricks on Wednesdays on Twitch. And during that time, tomorrow, for example, we were going to spend some more time back over in the command line. There's a bunch of stuff I think we've kind of never really spent time with there. But yeah, I can totally see us doing a Wednesday episode of maybe diving into this one a bit more. And also, I mean, I've started spending a little bit more time with the security team. Okay, so I do have a present for everybody. And I get nothing for you downloading it. But last week, yeah, Friday, myself and Chris from Build 5.9s, we released an updated version to this book. Now, I'm sure a lot of you probably already know a lot of the basics and stuff like that, but this is a book that I think is especially good, you know, if you are in the consulting kind of like world. We just updated this, so all of the newest, latest, and greatest stuff is in here. And then obviously, and by the way, I'm just friends with Chris. No, nothing else outside of like, there's no like other hidden things there. But Chris also writes about it. And I also think that Chris's site here is probably a very useful resource that you could go to. And then, yeah, and so there's a couple of, you can kind of see, he does a lot of write-ups. I think Chris just spends like all of his day like authoring content because he's like so much faster than I am on a lot of these things, but he has a great site. The last few little pieces, and by the way, Jason, you can tell me to be quiet if you want me to. I will. I mind.
Keep going, man.
I mind pretty well. I have had a couple of folks like say, okay, where do you go? Where's kind of your favorite few places to go for like Azure news? Where do you go? I usually go over here into Alvin Ashcraft's site here. I look at Alvin's site. Primarily, I spend more time in the web and cloud development piece. Obviously, you're probably familiar with like morningbrew.net. What is it? I think, is that the name of it? Morning, let's see what it says. Chris Alcock is his name. The Morning Brew. I always get these confused. Morning Dew, Morning Brew. Anyway, he has a nice little site where he doesn't focus completely on like just Azure content. He has a lot of .NET kind of like stuff that's in here that's a bit interesting. I totally go to like one of these. The last few sites, I'm just trying to give you a few resources that I think could be helpful. Azure Weekly.info. This is a newsletter by Engine. I met these fun folks. We actually got to hang out a little bit. They have a weekly newsletter. If you don't want to subscribe, don't subscribe. But you can always come back in here and you can grab the latest issue, and it has a nice little roundup of what has everybody been kind of like talking about in the last little bit. So just drop this one in here too. Come on, paste, and there you go. I don't know, those are just a few of the sites that just comes up off the top of my head. Well, cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'll stop for now. Yeah, we can. There's so many like avenues to like explore and to learn more things. So yeah, I think I'll stop there. Cool. Make sure everybody's okay here.
If anyone has a question, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, don't be shy. And also, if you just want to type it, that's fine as well too. I have had folks that prefer just to type, so it's totally up to you. I was looking to see if there was anything else that maybe we could sneak in here, but I think I may stop there for the moment. Anybody? Cool. So, excellent. So, if you want to find this repo again, hey, I saw somebody light up. Go ahead and talk. Sorry, Azure dev.tips. Oops, this one right here. That one, and then also HTTPS twitch.tv and Crump. Those are kind of the places if you kind of want to find me. I love Twitch. We do ridiculous things on Twitch all the time. My raid video, it's basically raiding the concept of a bunch of people come into your chat room or come into your stream all at once. I did some funny stuff with FBI raids there. So yeah, I don't take myself very seriously at all. So hopefully this helps. Ooh, that's a nice list. It's a very nice list. Love it, Bill. That's great. Oh yeah, the other one that I did mean to include is, let's see, dev.to, this one. Sometimes I post over here I don't know, I just kind of try to find out where the kind of community is at. But this is one place that I've been posting some stuff to. And for all of the Cloud Shell, like colorization and some of that other stuff, all that's documented in here. I think my computer now at this point is like, I'm done with you. Let's see here, loading. Yeah, anyway, I'll just give you the short version here, and that is just this link. Oh, he's already got it. I see it now. Yes, I see it. Excellent. Get a PC. I do. If you watch me on my streaming, I've got 2 really powerful PCs. And I totally love my PC. At work, you know what's funny is that like, so this isn't my computer. This is a work computer. I own a variety of different PCs. But yeah, love it. Yeah, for work we have to do a bunch. Obviously, you got to be on there. You have to be on every platform, and so there's some days that I need one machine over the next. And as you can see, my VM is sad. It's like, please work, and it's not working. So yeah, I got to see what's kind of going on there. Well, very cool. I would appreciate, anybody's got any comments or anything like that after this. You can always find me on Twitter. I usually I'm on there quite a bit. I have pulled back a little bit, but you can send me a DM. My DMs are completely open. Love to have you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. It was amazing. People are happy. I am super happy. We learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we'll just stop there recording.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Jason
Thank
can
you
stop
all.
recording.
Thank you all for this. I do greatly appreciate